Good afternoon and welcome to Feed Yourself. Well, today is all about oven roasted chicken. It's a great dish, it's easy to do, it's satisfying, and it fills the house with one of the best aromas when it's cooking. So we're going to use a large Dutch oven enameled cookware for the dish today. I put a little bit of oil in the bottom just to avoid any potential sticking of the vegetables to the bottom of the pan. But to that, I'm going to add in, I've got one small onion that I've quartered and sliced, and some carrots and some celery. So the classic mirepoix ingredients are going to go right in the bottom. You want to spread that out even in a nice layer. So you guys can see, we've got the vegetables in the pot. This is what the chicken is going to rest on. So after we get done seasoning the chicken and getting it all prepped up, it's going to go and sit on this pot. So for now, I'm going to sit that back to the side. We're going to do a compound butter and rub the chicken under the skin, into the leg joints, all around. We'll use some of the leftovers and coat the whole bird with it, and that's going to give it a nice flavor. The butter's going to melt through the bird. It should stay nice and juicy, tender. We want it to be nice and tasty when it comes out. And I'm starting with 1 stick of room temperature butter, unsalted butter. I'm going to add to that 1 teaspoon of just chicken base. That's it. There is some salt in there, not a lot. If you use a really nice one, I like the RL Schreiber brand. It's not a lot of salt in it. So I can still add some more salt and control salt that way without the chicken base being overwhelmingly salty. If you have one that's commercial that has a lot of salt in it, back out on the salt that you add to the butter. So I'm just going to do 2 nice pinches. And I've got a little bit of black pepper. Doesn't take a whole lot, about maybe 1/4 teaspoon is in there. Now the herb that we're going to use is sage. This is a piece of fresh sage. It's often called lamb's tongue. I've taken it and I've minced it up so it's fine, and it's going to go right into the butter. So by letting the butter get nice and soft, everything comes together nice and easy. This is going to help spread on the chicken as well. So you want to combine everything together into a nice flavorful paste. Butter, salt, pepper, fresh sage, and a little chicken base. That's going to really enrich in the flavor of the pan drippings also. So if you wanted to make a gravy, have a really nice flavor to it as well already. So I'm going to set that to the side, and we're going to get started with our fresh chicken. So I've got a chicken that's about 3 to 5 pounds. This is a 4-pound chicken. I like to use fryers for roasting instead of larger chickens for roasting. They tend to be tough in the breast meat. That's what I found just from experience. So a nice fryer, anywhere from 3 to 5 pounds, is a great size to do this activity. So this chicken is right about 4 pounds. So the first thing I'm going to do is all the fat and all the entrails have been removed from inside the chicken. I'm going to take an orange that I cut in half and just put it in to the cavity. Next, I've loosened the skin between the meat and the bird, or the skin, and I'm going to use the compound butter and go right in and just lather it in there. You really want to get underneath the skin good. You can use your hands, do double duty, and smooth the butter over the chicken underneath the skin. And I want to get it on all sides. So I want to make sure I've got all the pockets, get down in the legs, through the thigh. As much as you can get in there, the better. It's going to add more flavor. So here we go to this side. Let's get in there with the butter. And we'll go all the way in and get it all through the cavity. Okay, so the remaining butter that we have, I'm just going to use that and rub it all over the bird. Good thing to wear gloves for this activity. You want to get the wings underneath in the back. Make sure you get the butter everywhere you can. Okay, so we've got this bird nice and buttered up. I'm going to lift him up and I'm going to pin the wings behind the back. So this way the wing tips won't overcook. They'll stay nice and tight and it'll help keep the chicken shape. In addition, I'm going to use about 3.5 feet of kitchen twine, which works great. And I'm just going to go around. I'm not doing a heavy truss, just a simple truss to hold the chicken together while it's cooking. Pull the strings tight. You want to come in and go around one leg. Hold the string. Go around the other leg. And just tie them together. Keep it simple. You can do this with a turkey also. So if you have a turkey you want to do for Thanksgiving, and you want to tie them up nice and tight. Uh-oh, got a little leg slippage there. There's a lot of butter in play. And I'm going to retie that down. There we go. And I'll just tie it off. And there. So we've got our chicken all ready to go into our pot. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of these dirty gloves and come back and we'll get the chicken in the pot. All right, so we got our bird buttered and we're gonna lift it up and put him right into the pot. Let me get that paper off. Come on, paper. This is gonna be odd, but there it goes. Paper's off. Bird's in the pot. Drop the string down in there also. And we'll put the lid on. And this bird is going to go into a 375-degree oven that's been preheated for about 90 minutes. I say about 90 minutes because you really want to cook to temperature and not the time. Depending on your oven might not be as hot as mine, or it could be much hotter than mine. So the bird can cook faster or slower. So if you have an instant read thermometer, just a simple thermometer, stick it into the bird after about maybe 75, 80 minutes or so, an hour, hour and 20 minutes. Check in between the thickest part of the bird, the dark meat between the thigh and the leg. Go right in there and you want that temperature to be a minimum of 165, 175 degrees. It's going to carry over cook, so if you pulled it out at 165, the temperature is going to continue to increase for at least the next 10-15 minutes. You can check it again and you'll see that the temperature has increased. That's the best way to do it without overcooking the bird. Cook to temperature, let the time be a guide. Okay, so we got the chicken in the oven and I prepared a side dish for today's meal, and it's Pommes Lyonnaise, a classic French potato dish that I grew up calling fried potatoes and onions. So it's just a fancy version of that. I took the onions and potatoes and sliced them. I left the skins on. I scrubbed the potatoes really good and I used Yukon Gold potatoes. So I sliced them, sliced the onions, layered them in the dish. Then I added some salt and pepper to it while it was, doing its thing. A little bit of butter on top and some fresh thyme. This has just come out the oven. So if you can see, it's nice and hot. The thyme has done its job. So I don't want these little stems left behind. I'm just going to remove them and discard them. So the potatoes look delicious. They're fork tender. This takes about, probably 30-40 minutes to do in an oven at 350 degrees. If you check feed.yourself.well on Instagram, all the instructions are there on how to prepare these potatoes. So that's going to go with our chicken. So I'm just going to put them to the side. And I've got a chicken already ready. I like to have one ready. I got one cooking and one done. And I'm going to take the top off. Oh, wow. This chicken looks delicious. I'll tilt the pot a bit so you can see it down in there, but I'm actually going to remove the chicken from the pot. Those vegetables have cooked down nicely below. I'm going to rotate this board, do a side by side, and I can get the chicken out. So the chicken has been tied up, so I should be able to lift it right out with a little assistance of these tongs without him falling apart. Oh wow, super juicy bird. Right down on the cutting board. That looks delicious. These carrots and celery, you can always eat those too. We can take these drippings inside the pot and build a gravy with it if we wanted to. But for today, we're gonna do potatoes with a side of chicken. So I'm gonna get a few tongs out and get some spoons and go ahead and dish this up. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is remove our twine from the chicken. Have a little spot you need to cut through it, just cut through it, but that came off pretty easily. I'm just going to loosen it up across the bottom. Pull it to the side, there's the string. And then I'm gonna remove this leg. Oh wow, can you see that? Let me tilt that way. All that sage butter is right there, down in the leg. Just rotate it and go through with my knife and just cut the leg and thigh away. And we can put that right on our plate. Let's add some of these delicious looking potatoes. Some more. This smells absolutely delicious. And to make this a complete meal, I did some green beans. So let me grab this pan. I'm gonna put some green beans on this plate. The green beans are just simple, steamed, salt, pepper, a little bit of butter, nothing fancy, but very good. And there we have tonight's meal. It's going to be the oven roasted chicken with sage butter, Lyonnaise potatoes, and some easy green beans. And if you like the white meat, you can always slice off a couple of slices of that. Can you see how juicy that is? Wow. This chicken cooked up great. I'm gonna add this to this hungry man plate. And that's gonna make a great dinner. And of course, I want to take a little taste of the chicken. Got a fork here. Savory, moist, juicy, perfect oven roasted chicken. You got to try this recipe. Subscribe, turn on the notifications, like and comment. Next week we're going all vegetable, so be sure to tune in and remember, feed yourself well.